Thank you, Dr. Sealander. Please remain standing for the presentation of colors. The colors will be presented by a detail representing the 2nd of the 135th General Support Aviation Battalion. Our service members attending are Sergeant Benjamin Stalker, the Color Guard NCOIC carrying the American flag, who has served our country in Afghanistan. Sergeant Brian Becker, who has been awarded several service medals, including the Army Commendation Medal and the Army Reserve Component Achievement Medal, carrying the Colorado flag. Specialist Matthew Tilley, who received a State Achievement Award for his service and recovery efforts following some of the wildfires that ravaged our state over the past few years. And Specialist Elaine Aquino, a Signal Support Specialist for Delta Company in the 3rd of the 140th General Support Aviation Battalion.
Present arms. Order arms. About face. Colors. Pose. Face. Right. Face. Ready. Step.
Thank you. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. This morning we will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by the 2014 State and Region 7 Soldier of the Year, Sergeant Benjamin Stalker. Sergeant Stalker, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
My apologies. I'd like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. This morning, we are in for a very special treat. We are pleased to have Diana Castro, accompanied by Eddie Guillon, here to perform for us this morning. She brings a contemporary, funky, jazzy, and absolutely electric style of music with roots in New Orleans that passed through Texas before making it to right here in Denver. Diana will be singing the Star Spangled Banner for us today. Diana. Thank you. Diana, would you be willing to entertain another song for the Senate? That would be wonderful. Thank you. So we may be in store for a little bit more from Diana and Eddie a little bit later, but thank you to you both for such beautiful music for us this morning. Pursuant to the Constitution and the laws of the state of Colorado, I hereby call to order the first regular session of the Colorado Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the state of Colorado. Mr. Majors, would you please call the roll of the holdover senators?
Balmer. Baumgartner. Cadman.
Here.
Crowder. Heath. Hill. Hodge. Johnston. Jones. Kafalis. Marble. Newell. Scheffel. Stedman. Todd. Ulibarri. Madam President.
Here. The roll call is 17 holdover senators. Mr. Majors, would you please read the communications from the Secretary of State regarding the election results of November 4, 2014 for the members of the Colorado Senate?
State of Colorado, Department of State, United States of America, certificate. I, Scott Gessler, Secretary of State of the State of Colorado, certify that I have canvassed the abstract of votes cast submitted in the state of Colorado, and do state that to the best of my knowledge and belief, the persons listed on the attached list were duly elected to the State of Colorado State Senate by the qualified electors of the State of Colorado on November 4, 2014 general election. Colorado general election results, November 4, 2014. State Senate District 1, County Cheyenne, Elbert, Kit Carson, Lincoln, Logan, Morgan, Phillips, Sedgwick, Washington, Weldon, Yuma. Jerry Sonnenberg, Republican, 45,689 votes, 85.3%. Doug Aden, American Constitution, 7,876 votes, 14.7%. State Senate District 2, Counties Clear Creek, El Paso, Fremont, Park, and Teller. Kevin J. Grantham, Republican, 38,895 votes, 74.92%. Martin T. Worth, Green Party, 13,019 votes, 25.08%. State Senate District 3, Counties Pueblo, Leroy M. Garcia Jr., Democrat, 27,813 votes, 54.94%. George Rivera, Republican, 22,814 votes, 45.06%. State Senate District 5, County Chaffee, Delta, Eagle, Gunnison, Hinsdale, Lake, and Pitkin. Don Subs, Republican, 26,225 votes, 46.73%. Kerry Donovan, Democrat, 27,526 votes, 49.04%. Lee Mulcahy, Libertarian, 2,374 votes, 4.23%. State Senate District 6, Counties Archuleta, Dolores, La Plata, Montezuma, Montrose, Ouray, San Juan, San Miguel. Helen S. Roberts, Republican, 43,482 votes, 100%. State Senate District 7, Counties Mesa, Claudette J. Canola, Democrat, 16,506 votes, 29.43%. Ray Scott, Republican, 39,580 votes, 70.57%. State Senate District 9, County El Paso, Kent Lambert, Republican, 53,867 votes, 100%. State Senate District 11, Counties El Paso, Michael Merrifield, Democrat, 18,815 votes, 52.16%. Bernie Herpin, Republican, Bernie Herpin, Republican, 14,978 votes, 41.52%. Norman Peyote Dawson, Libertarian, 2,282 votes, 6.33%. State Senate District 13, Counties Weld, Joe Perez, Democrat, 14,879 votes, 36.34%. John Cook, Republican, 26,063 votes, 63.66%. State Senate District 15, Counties Larimer, Kevin Lundberg, Republican, 47,581 votes, 100%. State Senate District 16, Counties Boulder, Denver, Gilpin, Jefferson, Jeannie Nicholson, Democrat, 33,734 votes, 48.63%. Tim Neville, Republican, 35,631 votes, 51.37%. State Senate District 19, Counties Jefferson, Laura J. Woods, Republican, 29,907 votes, 47.61%. Rachel Zenzinger, Democrat, 29,244 votes, 46.56%. Greg Miller, Libertarian, 3,664 votes, 5.83%. State Senate District 20, Counties Jefferson, Sherry John, Democrat, 33,543 votes, 46.81%. Larry Queen, Republican, 33,104 votes, 46.19%. Chris Heisman, Libertarian, 5,018 votes, 7%. State Senate District 22, Counties Jefferson, Tony Sanchez, Republican, 29,174 votes, 48.88%. Andy Kerr, Democrat, 30,510 votes, 51.12%. State Senate District 24, Counties Adams, Judy Solano, Democrat, 25,268 votes, 49.13%. Beth Martinez Humenik, Republican, 26,164 votes, 50.87%. State Senate District 30, Counties Douglas, Chris Holbert, Republican, 39,897 votes, 62.51%. Betty Davis, Democrat, 21,566 votes, 33.79%. Eric Price, Libertarian, 2,359 votes, 3.7%. State Senate District 32, Counties Denver, Don Murray, Republican, 17,356 votes, 31.12%. Darrell Dinge, Libertarian, 2,560 votes, 4.59%. State Senate District 34, Counties Denver, Lucia Guzman, Democrat, 31,889 votes, 74.38%. Stuart Siffering, Republican, 8,390 votes, 19.57%. Brian Scriber, Libertarian, 2,592 votes, 6.05%. State of Colorado Department of State, United States of America, certificate. I, Scott Gessler, Secretary of State of the State of Colorado, certify that I have canvassed the abstract of votes submitted in the state of Colorado and do state that to the best of my knowledge and belief, the persons listed on the attached list were duly elected to the office of Colorado State Senate by the qualified electors of the state of Colorado in the November 4, 2014 general election. In testimony whereof, I have set my hand and affixed the great seal of the state of Colorado at the city of Denver this 10th day of December 2014. Scott Gessler, Secretary of State. State Senate District 1, Jerry Sonnenberg, Republican, 45,689 votes, 85.3%. State Senate District 2, Kevin J. Grantham, Republican, 38,895 votes, 74.92%. State Senate District 3, Leroy M. Garcia Jr., Democrat, 27,813 votes, 54.94%. State Senate District 5, Carrie Donovan, Democrat, 27,526 votes, 49.04%. State Senate District 6, LNS Roberts, Republican, 43,482 votes, 100%. State Senate District 7, Ray Scott, Republican, 39,580 votes, 70.57%. State Senate District 9, Ken Lambert, Republican, 53,867 votes, 100%. State Senate District 11, Michael Merrifield, Democrat, 18,815 votes, 52.16%. State Senate District 13, John Cook, Republican, 26,063 votes, 63.66%. State Senate District 15, Kevin Lundberg, Republican, 47,581 votes, 100%. State Senate District 16, Tim Neville, Republican, 35,631 votes, 51.37%. State Senate District 19, Laura J. Woods, Republican, 29,907 votes, 47.61%. State Senate District 20, Sherry John, Democrat, 33,543 votes, 46.81%. State Senate District 22, Andy Kerr, Democrat, 30,510 votes, 51.12%. State Senate District 24, Beth Martinez Humenik, Republican, 26,164 votes, 50.87%. State Senate District 30, Chris Holbert, Republican, 39,897 votes, 62.51%. State Senate District 32, Irene Aguilar, Democrat, 35,852 votes, 64.29%. State Senate District 34, Lucia Guzman, Democrat, 31,889 votes, 74.38%.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move that a committee on credentials be appointed by the President to be composed of 3 members of the Senate.
Is there any objection to the appointment of a committee on credentials? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Senators Shuffle, Lundberg, and Heath are appointed to the Committee on Credentials, and Majority Leader Shuffle will be chair. The Senate will be in recess so that the committee may meet and prepare its report. The Senate will come back to order. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. The Committee on Credentials has met and has submitted its report. I request that the clerk please read the report.
Mr. Makers, would you please read the report of the Committee on Credentials?
January 7, 2015, Madam President, your Committee on Credentials, to which was referred the list of the members of the Senate for the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, transmitted by the Secretary of State, begs leave to report that the persons named therein constitutes a true and correct list of the members as shown by the election certificate and records of the Office of the Secretary of State, and your committee recommends that the list so furnished and read be adopted as a temporary roll call of the Senate of the 70th General Assembly of the State of Colorado. Signed, Majority Leader Shuffle, Chair, Assistant Majority Leader Lundberg, Assistant Minority Leader Heath.
Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move that the report of the Committee on Credentials be adopted.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the report? Seeing none, the report on the Committee on Credentials is adopted. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move that a committee of 3 be appointed to escort Chief Justice Nancy Rice to the chambers for the purposes of administering the oath of office to the senators-elect.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, Senators Lundberg, Neville, and Ulibarri are appointed to escort the Chief Justice into the chambers. The Senate will stand in recess. The Senate will come back to order. Chief Sergeant Lombardi. Will the senators-elect please come to the well of the Senate to receive your oath of office from Chief Justice Nancy Rice?
other side. Oh, you good?
I'm good. Thank you. Are y'all ready? You all ready? How about you all? You all ready? Sure, wherever you want. So what I'm going to do is just say I and then ask to have you state your name, okay? So I'll say I and then have you state your name, please. All right. I. Please. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And of the state of Colorado. And will faithfully perform. The duties of the office. Of state senator. To which I have been elected. To the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations.
The committee is excused to escort Chief Justice Rice to the House. So members, while the Chief Justice is excused, we will be returning for photos later for those that have just been sworn in with the Chief Justice of Colorado later in the day. The Senate will come back to order. Mr. Majors, would you please call the roll of the senators-elect?
Aguilar. Cook. Donovan. Garcia. Grantham. Guzman. Holbert. John. Kerr. Lambert. Lundberg. Martinez Humenic. Merrifield. Neville. Roberts. Scott. Sonnenberg. Woods.
The roll call is 18 senators-elect. The temporary roll call of the Senate is 35 present, 0 absent, and 0 excused. We have a quorum. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move that the temporary roll call of the Senate be made the permanent roll call of the Senate.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted, and the temporary roll call of the Senate is now the permanent roll call of the Senate. Nominations are now open for President of the Senate. Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. Thank you for your service to this state and to this body, to this chamber. Colleagues, I'm honored this morning and privileged to place into nomination the name of a gentleman who we all know. He loves this state dearly and has served the people of the state of Colorado with distinction. He has worked tirelessly for this day. He's a good man with a great heart. It's my privilege, President Carroll, to place into nomination the name of Senator Bill Cadman for President of the Senate in the 70th General Assembly.
Thank you. Assistant Minority Leader Heath.
Thank you, Madam President, and I'm truly sorry this is the last time I will be able to address you in this official capacity. Colleagues, we are indeed in a strange business, and we all know that elections have consequences. And this year, the consequences for us, those of us that have a D after our name, are not quite as good as those that have an R after their name. But the beauty of a democracy is that we pick ourselves up and peacefully, and I emphasize the word peacefully, go back to work and try to do the very best that we can for the people that elected us. Another thing that we know, that our world is built on relationships. And this is particularly so in a legislative body like ours. On a personal note, I have had the opportunity to serve with the man that I am about to second for president, his nomination for president, the entire 6 years that I have been in the Senate. And I have thoroughly enjoyed working with him as I have with my friend, our new Senate Majority Leader, Senator Shuffle, who has assumed my role as Senate Majority Leader. It is in this vein that I want to second the nomination of a person I consider a friend, Senator Bill Cadman, for President of the Senate in the 70th General Assembly.
Are there any other nominations? Majority Leader Shuffle.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move that the nominations be closed and that a unanimous vote be cast for Senator Bill Cadman for President.
You've heard the motion. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, a unanimous vote is cast. Senator Bill Cadman is elected as President of the Colorado State Senate for the 70th General Assembly. Please congratulate your new president, Senator Bill Cadman. You recognize this?
Is that for me?
That's for you. So I've been thinking about this moment. It is a privilege to be handing over the gavel, but the more I thought about it, I decided I'd rather hand over Speaker Ferrandino's gavel, the famous bedazzled gavel, and may it serve you sparkly and well and all of us in the upcoming General Assembly. And okay, you can have this one.
Gavel. Don't move. Now what do I do?
President Cadman, I want to be among the first, probably not the first, but the first on record to formally congratulate you. I know, given the emphasis you put on honoring the institution of the Senate and this building, and the emphasis you put on relationships, that you will do an honorable and fine job leading this chamber and leading us in the state. And I really want to congratulate you in your new role as president of the Colorado State Senate. Yeah, just don't break his rhinestone.
We're going to have to change the name on that. Thank you, President Carroll, colleagues, all of you. Words fail me to express the honor and the obligation that I feel at being chosen as your president. For as long as this gavel is entrusted to me, every time it sounds, I want Colorado to know that sound means the work of the Senate will be conducted with decency and goodwill, integrity and fair play. The people expect that of us. I didn't think he would mind it, but I borrowed these words from Senate President John Andrews, who stood here on January 8th, 2003, and shared those with his audience. Would you please welcome President Andrews to the gallery? You know, since the final results of the elections were determined in November, I've gotten quite a taste of this new position. The responsibility that come with this title and this gavel are immense, and the workload is overwhelming. Stop asking for late bills. I'm not kidding. I imagine the only thing tougher than doing this job is to stand before this body today and turn this job and this gavel over to someone else. President Carroll, thank you for the grace and the dignity that you personally brought to this transition. Colleagues, my first request is that you join me in thanking President Morgan Carroll for serving Colorado in this role with honor and distinction. want to take a moment and thank Majority Leader Heath as well. The honor that you bring to this institution is immeasurable. Colleagues, please join me in thanking him for his leadership. I was trying to get through today without two things, my glasses or the tissues, and I don't think I'm going to make it. The next order of business is the election of President Pro Tem, Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor for me to place into nomination the name of an individual who has tirelessly worked for her constituency, served with distinction her position as state senator. Mr. President, I nominate Senator Ellen Roberts for President Pro Tem of the Senate in the 70th General Assembly.
Minority Leader Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is an honor and a privilege on behalf of all of us to second the nomination for Senator Ellen Roberts, who will do a phenomenal job as President Pro Tem.
Are there any other nominations? Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that nominations be closed and that a unanimous vote be cast for Senator Roberts for President Pro Tem.
You have all heard the motion. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, a unanimous vote is cast, and Senator Ellen Roberts is hereby elected as President Pro Tem of the Colorado State Senate for the 70th General Assembly. Please congratulate her. Or should I just call a recess? The Senate will stand in recess for a moment to allow our members to join the Chief Justice at the well to continue the photo op. Please. And the band played on.
Oh, no, they all went.
Such a swear at me.
Oh, yes.
Is family, are family members to come also? Or
Yeah,
just
sure, yeah, no, I think this is individual. And we can
have a picture in my office.
all right, we can have any kind of picture you want. Yeah.
Chief Justice, this is my partner,
Hi,
Martha.
Martha, how do you do?
You guys can help me. You guys
Are you a golfer as well? Oh, no.
She looks at birds.
I'm a bicyclist. Oh, that's
And she's also going to be here for the state of this.
Get out of the damn way.
So, Cindy,
This is it. This is it. This is it. This is it.
tell her to. So, okay, Mark, let's go. Let's go. Come on, we gotta go. The Senate will come back to order. Introduction and consideration of resolutions. Mr. Majors, would you please read the titles to SJR 1?
Senate Joint Resolution 1 by Senator Sheffel and Representative Duran concerning the adoption of the joint rules as the temporary joint rules of the 70th General Assembly.
Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 1, making the joint rules of the 69th General Assembly the temporary joint rules of the first regular session of the 70th General Assembly.
You've all heard the motion is for the adoption of SJR1. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, the vote is 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused. The motion is adopted. Co-sponsors. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of SR1?
Senate Resolution 1 by Senator Sheffel concerning the temporary rules of the Senate.
Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of Senate Resolution 1, making the rules of the Senate of the 69th General Assembly the temporary rules of the Senate of the first regular session of the 70th General Assembly.
The motion is for the adoption of Senate Resolution 1. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, the vote is 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. That motion is adopted. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader, the next order of business is the election of the Secretary of the Senate. Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Cindy Markwell be elected as Secretary of the Senate during the first regular session of the 70th General Assembly.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That motion is adopted. Ms. Markwell, will you please come forward so that I may administer the oath of office? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Cindy Markwell,
I, Cindy Markwell,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the constitutions
the constitutions
of the United States
of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and faithfully perform
and faithfully perform
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
to which I am duly elected
to which I am duly elected
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations. Me too. You can have this. It's a gift. Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that a committee be appointed to notify the House that the Senate is organized and ready for business.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, Senator Hills, Sonnenberg, and Garcia are appointed to a committee to notify the House that the Senate is organized. You are excused. I understand they are waiting anxiously for you to return. Take your time. Majority Leader Sheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that a committee be appointed to notify the governor that the Senate is organized and ready for business.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, Senators Cook, Crowder, and Donovan are appointed to a committee to notify the governor that the Senate is organized. You are excused. The Senate will stand in recess until the committees return, unless the House committee is here. All right, we will stand in a short recess.
representatives come in. I don't know where he went, but the representative. Okay, let me find him. He went to which side?
We ready? Just recognize House Committee with members. The Senate will now come back to order, and the Senate recognizes Representatives Melton, Danielson, and Neville from the House. Please join us. Representative Melton.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are here to let you know that the House is organized and ready for business. We would have been over here a lot sooner, but it seemed that you guys were holding the Chief Justice. We've been waiting on some stuff to come from over here. We're really trying to understand how you have half the members and yet still take twice as long.
Representative, the House spends a lot of time trying to understand. We have 119 days.
That was good.
119 days to figure it out. Good luck. Continue.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, waiting out in the lobby, I thought actually we were going to use all 119 waiting just to come in here.
Your insolence does not move our indifference. Representative Danielson, we are ready
Mr. President,
for
I
fresh.
just wanted to let folks know that I am new, but apparently it's fairly typical that the House has their stuff together a lot sooner than the Senate.
You will learn. Representative Neville, you remind me of someone.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm actually going to break from tradition here and not criticize this body because there's some awesome DNA over there. Hi, Dad. Hi, Mom. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I would say welcome again, but you are excused now. Thank you. Do we have committees to report? Would the committees come forward? Do we have them? Are ours back? Are we- All right, we will stand in a brief recess. Okay, shuffle now. The Senate will come back to order. We are ready to hear from our committees. Gentlemen, Senator Hill.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have returned successfully from our scouting trip to the minor leagues, and we can inform you that they are somewhat organized and ready to deal with the things we send over to them, and maybe some other business as well.
Thank you, Senator Hill. You're speaking for the whole committee? I like that. Further reports? Yes. Apparently, we will give the majority report. Oh. Senator Donovan, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the opportunity to notify the governor that the Senate is organized and ready for business. We had an opportunity to talk about our dogs, which was a great way to start the session. Sky was down there, a dog lover. I suspect much will be made of what divides us this session. I look forward to what we will do together. It'll be a privilege to work with the good people of this room to do the good work for the great state of Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just here to report to you that we have contacted the governor and said we were ready for business, and he sent a message up that he is excited to work with everybody here. He's very confident in the Senate makeup this year, and he's especially glad to be working with Senate Majority Bill Cadman. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cook.
Thank you. The governor said the same thing. He's looking forward to the session starting and working with everyone here for the benefit of all the citizens of Colorado. So I'm looking forward to working with him as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. You ready for the reports? Max, are you up? Mr. Majors, would you please read the message from the House as if we need to hear more from them?
January 7, 2015, Mr. President, the House has adopted and transmits herewith House Joint Resolution 1001.
Introduction and consideration of resolutions. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of HJR 1001?
House Joint Resolution 1001 by Representative Duran, Senator Sheffield, concerning a joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate of the 70th General Assembly for the purpose of canvassing the votes for certain officials at the election held November 4th, 2014.
Majority Leader Sheffield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1001 regarding the joint session to certify the election results for the statewide offices.
The motion is for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1001. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, with a vote of 35 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, 0 excused, that motion is adopted. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader Sheffel. Page 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would request that Mr. Majors read the committee appointment letters to the Senate committees of reference and standing committees.
Mr. Majors, would you please read the committee appointments letters?
November 20th, 2014, dear Mr. Mayor, pursuant to Senate rules, the majority leader is responsible for determining the size of the Senate committees of reference and for appointing majority party members to each committee. The size of the Senate committees of reference are as follows: Senate Business, Labor, and Technology, 3 members of the majority party and 4 members of the minority party. Senate Judiciary, 3 members of the majority party and 2 members of the minority party. Senate State Veterans and Military Affairs, 3 members of the majority party and 2 members of the minority party. Senate Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, 5 members of the majority party and 4 members of the minority party. Senate Education, 5 members of the majority party and 4 members of the minority party. Senate Health and Human Services, 3 members of the majority party and 2 members of the minority party. Senate Local Government, 4 members of the majority party and 3 members of the minority party. Senate Transportation, 3 members of the majority party and 2 members of the minority party. Senate Finance, 3 members of the majority party and 2 members of the minority party. Senate Appropriations, 4 members of the majority party and 3 members of the minority party. The members of the Senate committees of reference for the majority party are as follows: Senate Business, Labor, and Technology, Senator David Ballmer, Chair. Senator Chris Holbert, Vice Chair. Senator Randy Baumgartner. Senator Tim Nibble. Senator Laura Woods. Senate Judiciary, Senator Ellen Roberts, Chair. Senator Kevin Lundberg, Vice Chair. Senator John Cook. Senate State Veterans and Military Affairs, Senator Ray Scott, Chair. Senator Jerry Sonnenberg, Vice Chair. Senator Owen Hill. Senate Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, Senator Jerry Sonnenberg, Chair. Senator Ellen Roberts, Vice Chair. Senator Randy Baumgartner, Ray Scott, and John Cook. Senate Education, Senator Owen Hill, Chair. Senator Vicky Marble, Vice Chair. Senators Tim Neville, Chris Holbert, and Laura Woods. Senate Health and Human Services, Senator Kevin Lundberg, Chair, Senator Larry Crowder, Vice Chair, Senator Beth Martinez-Humanic. Senate Local Government, Senator Vicky Marble, Chair, Senator David Ballmer, Vice Chair, Senators Larry Crowder and Beth Martinez-Humanic. Senate Transportation, Senator Randy Baumgartner, Chair, Senator Ray Scott, Vice Chair, Senator John Cook. Senate Finance, Senator Tim Neville, Chair, Senator Owen Hill, Vice Chair, Senator Chris Holbert. Senate Appropriations, Senator Kevin Grantham, Chair, Senator Ken Lambert, Vice Chair, Senators Jerry Sonnenberg and Laura Woods. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Mark Scheffel, Senate Majority Leader. November 24, 2014. Mr. Maurer, as you know, Senate rules require that as the minority leader, I determine the minority party's appointments to the 2015 Legislative Committee's reference. Below are the appointments. Agriculture, Senators Mary Hodge, Kerry Donovan, Leroy Garcia, and Matt Jones. Business, Labor, and Technology, Senators Raleigh Heath, Irene Aguilar, Sherry John, and Linda Newell. Education, Senators Andy Kerr, Mike Johnston, Nancy Todd, and Michael Merrifield. Finance, Senators Mike Johnston and Andy Kerr. Appropriations, Senators Pat Stedman, Raleigh Heath, and Mary Hodge. Health and Human Services, Senators Irene Aguilar and Linda Newell. Judiciary, Senators Lucia Guzman and Michael Merrifield. Local Government, Senators John Kafalas, Kerry Donovan, and Jesse Ulibarri. State Affairs, Senators Jesse Ulibarri and Matt Jones. Transportation, Senators Nancy Todd and Leroy Garcia. I am happy to answer any questions you may have. Sincerely yours, Morgan Carroll, Senate Minority Leader. November 21st, 2014. Dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to the Senate rules, the Majority Leader is responsible for appointing members of the Senate Majority to the Senate Joint Budget Committee. I appointed Senator Kent Lambert and Senator Kevin Grantham to the Joint Budget Committee. Please let me know if you have any questions. Sincerely, Mark Scheffel, Senate Majority Leader. December 31st, 2014. Mr. Maurer, the Senate Democrats hereby appoint Senator Pat Stedman to the Joint Budget Committee for the 2015 legislative session. Sincerely, Morgan Carroll, Senate President. December 31st, 2014. Dear Secretary Mark Worrell, pursuant to the Senate rules, I am appointing President Bill Cadman and myself to serve on the Senate Services Committee. Sincerely, Mark Scheffel, Senate Majority Leader. December 31st, 2014. Dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to Rule 21B, I am appointing Senator Morgan Carroll to serve on the Senate Services Committee. Sincerely, Senator Morgan Carroll. Dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to CRS 23301 and with the consent of the Senate Minority Leader, I am appointing Senators Bill Cadman, Mark Scheffel, Ellen Roberts, Kevin Lundberg, Vicky Marble, Morgan Carroll, Raleigh Heath, Jesse Ulibarri, and Matt Jones to the Legislative Council Committee. Sincerely, Bill L. Cadman, Senate President-elect, Colorado Senate. January 6, 2015, dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to CRS 231702 and with the consent of the Senate Minority Leader, I am appointing Senators Ellen Roberts, Mark Scheffel, Michael Johnston, Pat Stedman, and Senators-elect Ray Scott to the Committee on Legal Services. Sincerely, Bill L. Cadman, Senate President-elect, Colorado Senate. December 2nd, 2014, dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to CRS 23101 and with the consent of the Senate Minority Leader, I am appointing Senators Tim Neville, Chris Holbert, and Lucia Guzman and Sherry John to the Legislative Audit Committee. Sincerely, Bill L. Cadman, Senate President. December 2nd, 2014, dear Mr. Maurer, pursuant to the CRS 23301 and with the consent of the Senate Minority Leader, I am appointing Senators Randy Baumgartner, John Kafalas, and Jerry Sonnenberg to the Capital Development Committee. Sincerely, Bill L. Cadman, Senate President.
Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the following presidential appointees to the Legislative Council Committee: President Cadman and Senators Scheffel, Lundberg, Roberts, Marble, Carroll, Heath, Ulibarri, and Jones.
You have heard the motion. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, with a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the motion is adopted, and those members are appointed to the Legislative Council Committee. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the following presidential appointees to the Committee on Legal Services: Senators Roberts, Scheffel, Scott, Stedman, and Johnston.
You have heard the motion. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, the vote is 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. The motion is adopted, and those members are appointed to the Committee on Legal Services. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the following presidential appointees to the Legislative Audit Committee: Senators Neville, Holbert, Guzman, and John.
You have heard the motion. Are there any no votes? With a vote of 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, that motion is adopted. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senators Baumgartner, Sonnenberg, and Kafalas be appointed to the Capital Development Committee.
The motion is for the appointment of the members to the Capital Development Committee. Are there any no votes? Seeing none, the vote is 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. The motion is adopted, and those members are appointed to the Capital Development Committee. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We're going to
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1002 regarding the rule change to the oversight of committees.
Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of House Joint Resolution 1002? First. Belay that. Mr. Majors, would you please read first the message from the House?
January 7, 2015, Mr. President, the House has adopted and transmits here with House Joint Resolution 1002.
Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now I would like to move for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1002 regarding the rule change to the oversight of committees.
Mr. Majors, would you please read the title of House Joint Resolution 1002?
House Joint Resolution 1002 by Representative Duran and Senator Sheffield concerning a change to the joint rules of the Senate and House of Representatives regarding the name of the Business, Labor, Economic, and Workforce Development Committee.
Majority Leader Scheffel. We've already moved it. Have we not already moved it? The motion is for the adoption of House Joint Resolution 1002. Are there any no votes? Seeing none. 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused. That motion is adopted. Co-sponsors. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I move that the Senate stand in recess to hear the remarks of Senator Cadman, the President of the Senate, and Senator Carroll, the Senate Minority Leader.
You have all heard the motion. Are there any no votes? The Senate will... I heard that. The Senate will stand in recess. Nil sine numine. Sounds foreign. It's Colorado's state motto. Nothing without providence. This is a day of honor. This is a day of celebration. More than 5 million Coloradans have honored 35 state senators and 65 representatives with their sacred trust. Today we celebrate their liberty. Today we celebrate their freedom. And to serve here, we swear an oath before God and man to protect their rights. Nil sine numine. We are especially honored to be in these chambers for the first official day after phase 1 of a historical renovation. Isn't it beautiful? You can give it up. Madam Secretary, you and your team are to be commended for driving this project and restoring the opulence of the People's Chamber. Would you please join me in welcoming my special guest today? First and foremost, my wife Lisa, with our son, one of our sons, Alex. Thank you. Also joining us is my father and his wife. They were last here in 2003 for opening day of the house. It's been a while. Thanks for joining us, Dad. And repeat that. And a special surprise guest for my father is my sister, who flew in from Philadelphia. Thankfully, last night, it looked like a challenge for quite a while. We have not been in the same room together for over almost 20 years. So this is a special day for our family as well. Please welcome my sister. "20 years and her hairline has not changed like mine. I would be remiss today if I didn't express my gratitude for my mom. She battled cancer for decades. She was an amazing woman with a huge heart. Surprisingly, she had a great sense of humor. Her wish was to live just long enough to watch her 3 children graduate from high school. Can you imagine that as your wish? She got her wish. She passed the year after I graduated. She was 42. Would you indulge me while I light a candle in the honor of the life of my mom? I owe that to her. Thanks. To say that my mom would be proud today is an understatement, but she would not be ecstatic. My mom was a Democrat. No, I mean it. A staunch Democrat. I learned that one day after equipping her blue Volkswagen with a Nixon Now bumper sticker when I was 12. She was not a big fan. Please help us thank some folks who answered the call to make today special for us. The color guard, Dr. Sealander, and music from my lovely longtime friend, Diana Castro and Eddie Guillon. Thank you for making this so special for us. Would you thank them as well? Colleagues, let me welcome each of you to the 70th General Assembly for the state of Colorado. It's official now, finally. The Secretary of State has certified your elections. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court has sworn in our new members. To our holdovers, of which I am one, welcome back. And to our re-elected members, congratulations and welcome back to you, especially those of you who were in very tough elections. You know who you are. We know who you are. Congratulations. To our newly elected members, Senators Donovan, Neville, Merrifield, Cook, Woods, Garcia, Martinez-Humanic, Holbert, Sonnenberg, and Scott, congratulations to each of you as well. And to our former colleagues, Senators Herpin, Rivera, Zenzinger, and Nicholson, who campaigned valiantly yet did not prevail, could we show our appreciation for their service to this body? I want to do something a little unusual, and for the first time in 14 years, I didn't actually have to ask permission. Members, stay seated, but I would like, colleagues, stay seated. I would like all of the family members and loved ones to please stand. Come on, you know who you are. You're in the seats. Stand, stand. Wait a minute. Wait. Stay standing for just a moment. These are the people here and at home that make it possible for us to do what they do, to do what we do. They support us and they encourage us. They take care of our home lives in our absence, and for some of us, that is more often than not. They pay the bills, they handle the kids, the carpools, the homework. They put the trash cans out. For us, it's Wednesdays, right, Alex? No, it's Friday. Like I said, they're home taking care of business while we are here. You know I'm the president, right? Not just dad anymore. We need to thank our family members for all they do. Now, members, please rise and join me in thanking all of our family members and our loved ones. I know there will be no debate. That is truly the least that we can do. As wonderful as days like this are with our loved ones, they can be extremely tough for those of us who have lost theirs. Sadly, someone who would have been standing here today is missing. Someone who has been with us in this chamber for years, on opening days and other significant days as well. Senator Stedman, none of us have forgotten how tough special days can be for you without Dave. Those who knew him continue to miss his smiling face, his gleaming eyes, and his gentle spirit. I miss his summer lemonade. We know how much you meant to each other. Would you please join me, Senator Pat, in lighting a candle to honor the life of Dave Meisner? Colleagues, to stay in this body and to serve after going through such tremendous loss and do the job that this man does on the JBC and everything else, and he is an institution in this institution, join me in thanking him. And finally, I want to extend a special thanks to Senator Ron May, who preceded me in Senate District 10 until somebody decided I should be in Senate District 12. You know who you are. We know who you are. My being here was his idea. He's a great mentor, a great legislator, and a great friend. Senator May, thank you for all you did. Please welcome Senator Ron May. So when I graduated from high school a few years ago, from a very small town in Whitefish, Montana, our special guest speaker came to our commencement all the way from the vice principal's office. You probably remember that special day. Like you then, I was really excited about that day. And probably like you now, I wasn't that excited about our guest speaker. Mr. Lawson, I'm sorry if you happen to hear this. I was young and there were other activities planned that day that we were anxious to attend. But he said something that stuck with me. And over the years, I've often thought of his remarks. He told our graduating class to learn from the past, to live for the present, and plan for the future. Pretty simple principles. Learn from the past, live for the present, plan for the future. And at 17, I had the second principle down. Really good. But learning from the past and planning for the future would become lifetime challenges. These principles seem fitting for us as we prepare for the upcoming sessions of the 70th General Assembly. Mr. Lawson's first principle was learn from the past. Today begins my 20th session, my 15th year. I believe, Senator Hodge, this is true for you as well. We came in together with Senator John. You took a little hiatus. But we have 14 regular sessions and 5 special sessions behind us. Today marks the 4th opening day that I have had the honor of addressing this chamber. The view is a little better up here. 3 years ago on opening day, I shared my hopes that we could heal the political wounds of a divisive reapportionment process. I also stressed that success in this institution is not measured by passing bills, but is based on relationships built on respect, civility, and trust. 2 years ago on opening day, prompted us to reflect on a summer of destruction after more than 4,000 wildfires wreaked havoc in places like Waldo Canyon, the lower North Fork, Cedar Ridge, and countless others. Sadly, we were also reeling from the gruesome Aurora Theater shootings. Last year, on opening day, we reviewed the aftermath of another horrific fire season in Colorado, compounded by flooding of biblical proportion. I also touched on the changes inside this chamber after this historic September recalls. And opening day last year was also just 1 week after commemorating the life of another Colorado high school student lost to an act of violence in another Colorado school. Many of us attended the celebration of the life of Claire Davis. Would you please allow me to light a candle in the honor of Claire's life? Would you join me in welcoming Claire's parents, Michael and Desiree? We are honored to have you with us today. Year after year, Colorado has faced unthinkable challenges. Year after year, we have seen common Coloradans turn into uncommon heroes through extraordinary acts of bravery and courage. We have also seen members of this body work to help restore the lives of those affected by unimaginable devastation and loss. And even in the years without catastrophic events, Colorado has faced significant trials. Our boom and bust economic cycles, our term limits, our conflicting constitutional requirements have placed each of us in a political game of twister. Remember that game? Right hand red, left hand blue, something like that. Please tell me I'm not the only one old enough to remember that commercial. I saw some heads nodding. Year after year, I have seen this body contort around countless competing interests to get the job done for those who elected us. I've seen this process bring out the best in each of us when relationships prevail over partisanship. In addition to what I've seen over 14 years, let me share a little of what I've learned. My first year, I was in the majority, but I learned that there weren't 99 other legislators that were waiting here for my great ideas. Anybody? I know it's not just me. That lesson comes when your bills get PI'd by your own party, and if you're lucky, it happens before they get to the floor. I learned a basic math lesson here. It's 33, 18, and 1, and I am not the one. 33, 18, and 1, and you're not the one either. If you learn that one quick, it will spare you much grief. For our guests, this is the number that it takes to pass a bill. 14 years, thousands of votes, dozens of legislators, 3 governors, 3 chief justices, and what stands out the most to me is relationships. And I appreciated what Senator Heath said, because it's true. We have a common bond. I mention this every year because it's that important to try to build great relationships here. Think of them like a great movie or your favorite movie, you know, the one that makes you stop and watch it if you're channel surfing. Ask my kids. If I come across Driving Miss Daisy, Shawshank Redemption, or We Are Marshall, that TV is mine. It's mine. And I own those movies. Of course, my list also includes Caddyshack and Stripes. I own those as well. But the point is, everything else stops when you hit one of your favorites, and great relationships are just like that. People who you will stop everything to talk to, even if you don't have time, even if it's just for a minute. And in this place, a minute is a long time. I strive to do this. It drives my staff absolutely crazy, and frankly, it's been more challenging every day. In 14 years, I've learned there are countless opportunities here to make a point, but there are limited opportunities here to make a difference. Our ultimate success will be judged by the latter. Mr. Lawson's second principle, live for the present. Our time here is so brief. There's more to learn than we can even imagine, and there is no end to the learning curve. In 2000, when I had a chance to visit Senate President Ray Powers in his office, he said that he learned something new here about this process and about this institution every day. and he had been here for 19 years. He learned something new every day. There is a lot to it. There are strange phrases. You haven't heard all of them this morning, but who knew what a cow amendment was or move to sever? I mean, we're not running a butcher shop. That's what it sounds like. We have strange actions, like not referring to someone by name when you're standing at the microphone any other place on the planet, and that would be rude. We have 4 sets of rules: the House rules, the Senate rules, the joint rules, and Mason's rules. And this place takes the word multitasking to a whole new level. You can watch a department briefing on spending billions of dollars in less time than it takes to count the zeros in $1 billion, all while you're getting ready for your bill that's up in committee in the afternoon and preparing your notes for the town hall meeting that you're holding that night. I see the heads nodding. That's how it goes here. You have to push yourself, you have to read, you have to ask questions, and you have to find people you trust and who know what they are talking about on topics that are foreign to you, because you can't possibly know everything about every issue, but you will vote on every issue. Here, living for the president means reading, learning the rules, embracing the process, and being committed to serve. And if you're thinking about your legacy, it won't be measured by your votes, your bills, your amendments, or the legislative awards hanging on the wall. It will be measured by your word, your commitment, your honor, and the quality of those relationships that you build across these desks, across this aisle, and outside of this chamber. Mr. Lawson's 3rd principle. This is it. I know you're relieved. There weren't 10. This is why we're here. This is why we ran for office. We all want to be part of building a better future Colorado, and I trust that we share a belief that our work here will contribute to that goal. To accomplish this, we must work together. To accomplish this, the area between these desks needs to become less of an aisle of partisan division and more of a pathway for partnerships. This needs to be a pathway for partnerships. I mean, think of ourselves as board members of a $26 billion company. That's a pretty good-sized company. We each have an equal vote and an equal voice. And in this publicly owned, not publicly traded, publicly owned company, we make laws, we change statutes. They're in those red books in the back of the chamber. Our efforts, our successes, and even our failures will certainly be reflected in them at the end of the session and at the end of this term. I hope these statutes will contribute to a better future for our people in our state. You know, one of our first bills that we'll adopt are the revised statutes that we changed in 2014. And I hope when we adopt the revised statutes of 2015 that they will reflect the best that we can do in this institution for the 5.4 million people we serve. I hope those statutes will reflect our commitment to K-12, to improved school performance, better test scores, more parental choice, higher graduation rates, and reasonable, sustainable funding increases. According to a recent report from the Denver Metro EDC, our schools are moving in the right direction with a gradual increase in graduation rates over the past 10 years. We've gone from 27th to 20th. We are also holding our own, according to the report, as the 9th highest ranking state in 4th grade reading proficiency, but as great as that sounds, it needs to improve. This ranking means that less than 41% of our students are proficient in reading in the 4th grade. Less than 41%, and that makes us 9th. There is a lot of room for improvement. And we've heard that testing is too burdensome and it's not increasing knowledge. We know that there are too many tests, they cost too much, and we know teaching to them is consuming too much class time and reducing progress. We are committed to reducing this burden so that our teachers can return to teaching. I want to thank the 1202 Task Force. We anxiously await your report. I want to thank them for their countless hours and the hard work, and we hope to build on this foundation as there is much work ahead of us. And educational excellence must be our shared commitment. And with the focus on K-12, I hope these statutes will reflect our commitment to workforce development opportunities for our Colorado high school graduates who are not planning to attend college. I know this is a hot-button issue for some of you, and you have years of experience in this. And I thank you, Senator Heath and Senator Newell and Senator Balmer, for your work on this. The skills necessary for competing in a high and low-tech global economy demand more from our high school graduates. We need more focus on training, skills, and knowledge in a variety of vocations, from surgical technicians to construction supervisors, equipment operators to IT specialists. Our latest report from the Colorado Workforce Development Council has provided a wealth of insight in Colorado's progress on workforce development and the opportunities and obstacles identified in the Colorado Talent Pipeline Report, thank you, Senator Newell, which was just published last week, provides us with a roadmap for increasing the vital public-private partnerships that are bringing our schools and our employers together for our students. Empowering our kids to succeed is our greatest responsibility. Their success is the ultimate return on our investment. I hope our statutes will reflect the will of the 70th General Assembly to hold ourselves accountable for our own government. Let's look in. Remember, we're the board of a $26 billion company. Let's scrutinize how this $26 billion enterprise functions, how it regulates, how it performs its core duties. Let's look at 1, how we regulate businesses, and 2, how we operate our own business. 1, we regulate. We do. 14,000 pages of new regulation every year. Public safety, security, environmental protection, consumer protection are legitimate requirements of a well-governed state. But any regulation that's beyond our core function just becomes costly and cumbersome, impeding economic development and making us less competitive with other states. The net effect is job loss, less economic opportunity, and less state revenue. When we need more of all three. Maybe we should adopt the tactic of the most competitive retailer on the planet. They have a simple slogan: roll back prices. They don't do it to be charitable, I guarantee that. They don't do it to cut into their profits. They do it to be more competitive in a global marketplace. Rolling back costly, useless regulations will make us more competitive. And even though much of our state is thriving, much of it is not. And if we are not sharpening our competitive edge in every place we can, we are losing it in every place we don't. We also need to hold ourselves accountable for the business of government. The business of government. That's what we do. Our statutes empower every program we have and every department. Colorado state employees are some of the most talented and dedicated men and women in the workforce. But many of our bureaucracies, our systems, our programs are stuck in the Stone Age. For some of you, that's the 80s. But our trail of failing programs with questionable results and poor accountability is growing longer with every audit. And I want to thank the work of the audit committee, the work of the members of the audit committee. Fantastic. You're doing a great job for the state of Colorado. But hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars are being spent, and Coloradans deserve accountability, they deserve transparency, and they deserve results. And this is not the time to list the deficiencies or point fingers or place blame outside this chamber, because we're to blame. Those are our departments, these are our programs, and this is our responsibility. And if we are complacent to keep broken bureaucracies, then we are complicit in their failures. The time to act is now. I hope the revised statutes of 2015 will reflect the commitment of this assembly to making our students safer in our public schools. As parents, we worry about our kids being on time for class, for having enough lunch money, for remembering their homework, or carrying a backpack full of books that's half their weight. Right, Alex? It's heavy. We shouldn't have to worry about their safety. As a parent and as a policymaker, I've been taking their safety for granted. But the tragic loss of life at schools like Columbine, Platte Canyon, Arapahoe, and Doherty prove this issue must be confronted, and this body must seek solutions. And I can't thank the Davis family enough for all the hard work that you and your team have put into this. And on behalf of the Senate, I pledge our dedication to finding ways to keep our kids safer in our schools. And please help me thank them again for partnering with us in this important effort. Thank you for being here. Finally, relief, huh? I hope the statutes of the 2015 revised statutes will reflect a commitment to honor our oath to support and defend our Constitution. We are about to face one of the best problems that we have had in this state and in this legislature in a long time. It's called prosperity. After a historic recession, revenue drops, and budget shortfalls, Colorado is again estimating revenues that are above our constitutional allowance. This is not new territory for us. On January 6, 1999, President Ray Powers stood at this very podium, and he faced the same issues. He said, "Today our citizens expect this legislature to return the surplus." President Powers went on to add that he had concerns that refunds would trigger reductions in capital spending and transportation. Does that sound familiar? Have anybody heard anything about this lately? I mean, it just proves that Solomon was right. There is nothing new under the sun, and there is nothing new under the gold dome, except this beautiful restoration. Coloradans were extremely generous with their money under Referendum C, and the state has retained nearly $10 billion more than the original Tabor limit since its passage in 2005. In the current fiscal year alone, the new cap will allow the state to keep more than $2 billion above the original Tabor limit. And we are now expecting revenue above that. There are already a lot of discussions happening about the surplus. But frankly, I think these talks are moot. The people of Colorado made that decision for us, and more importantly, the people of Colorado made that decision for themselves. Their Constitution tells us it's their money, they want it back, and we should give it back. You know, there are only a few of us that are given the privilege to serve and help shape the future of our state in the Colorado Senate. It is a responsibility we can never take lightly and a privilege none of us will ever forget. I borrowed these words from Minority Leader Mike Feely, who concluded his remarks with them on opening day in 1999. Colleagues, in 120 days, we will get the job done. The School Finance Act will come together, the budget will pass, and we will tackle around 600 bills. We will leave a reflection of our collective will in these statutes. Nil sine numine, nothing without providence. Perhaps our state's forefathers who claimed this poignant motto were onto something. Their legacy was surely greater than the bills they passed. It was larger than this magnificent building. They left behind something that would prevail long after their passing, and we are still benefiting from their legacy. I hope those who follow us will benefit from ours. Thank you. Majority Leader Carroll.
Thank you, President Cadman, for your comments, your remarks, and your very touching tributes to lives of people who matter to all of us. Welcome, President Cadman, Majority Leader Shuffle, my apologies, and fellow senators. Congratulations on your election to the Colorado Senate, and congratulations on your new positions that offer you an incredible opportunity to serve the people of Colorado. Welcome to friends and family and guests. It is truly a privilege to be here. Today is the start of a session where we will return to do the work for the people of the state of Colorado. It is a privilege to represent this beautiful state, a state with over 50 14ers, over a dozen mountain ranges, and a strong and resilient community that has been through the trenches together and emerged stronger. Today we move forward together. The Colorado way is to work together, and we know this. We look forward to working with all of you. Last session, 97% of our bills that passed were bipartisan, and we worked with every senator to work and pass on laws that move our state forward, that were important to them and each of their districts for all the people of the state of Colorado. And we have every reason to hope and believe that you will do the same. After all, when we as senators focus on who we really work for and what they really want from us, we have a responsibility and a really great opportunity to continue to show our citizens how Colorado is different than DC and an example to other states. I know I speak for my colleagues on the Democratic side of the aisle that they are eager to roll up their sleeves and work together to get results. We are committed to continuing Colorado's progress and to continue to move Colorado forward. We've felt the struggles of Coloradans. We listened, we responded. Last year on opening day, we said we wanted to focus on ensuring that every Coloradan had the freedom to succeed. Our unemployment has moved from 6.5% last year to 4.1% today. We have moved from 40th in the nation on job growth to the fastest growing economy in the country, according to Business Insider. Coloradans asked us to grow the economy and add jobs, and we did. We invested in advanced industries, job training, developed pipelines to help businesses find the right employees for the right job for Colorado. Coloradans asked us to address skyrocketing college tuition and student debt, and we did. Coloradans asked us to address access and the cost of child care in Colorado, and we did. Coloradans asked us to focus on recovery for our communities in a state that was devastated by floods and fires, and we did. And Coloradans, interesting note to the prayer we heard this morning about unity. Coloradans wanted us to unite, to work together, work across the aisle, and get real and meaningful results on the issues that matter most to the people of this state. And with your help, we did. Last year, we nearly doubled the amount of deadlines as courtesies for extensions, late bills, that we extended while we were in the majority for Republicans. And Republicans, even in the minority, passed an average of 9 bills per member, working with Democratic leadership. We can do this. After all, these halls are not about forcing a partisan agenda. They are about doing what is right. And what's right? What's just? It's an economy that works for everyone, not just a few at the top. And despite Colorado's recovery, we really do know that there is much more to be done. We know that while Colorado is leading the nation in many respects, too many people are still being left behind. A stagnant wage isn't fair to the young families working to keep up with the rising costs of health care, and every layoff is so much more than a statistic. It is the difference between enough food at dinner or paying the electric bill. We know our recovery will be real and enduring when it is felt directly by all Colorado families, by all 64 counties, both urban and rural, We know the recovery will be done when it is felt that every Coloradan has the opportunity to be free from debt and is able to plan for the future again with some financial peace of mind. This year, we will focus on assisting displaced workers, rural economic development, encourage small business development in places that are economically distressed in the state of Colorado, where the recovery has been uneven. We have opportunities to make the recovery felt by everyone. We will focus on promoting job training, retirement security, and work to address the issues faced by the long-term unemployed in the state of Colorado. But we really do need to ease the squeeze on the middle class, and we've been watching this go for a while. While we are finally starting to see an uptick in real wages after a long time with no movement there, you don't need me to tell you that that dollar isn't going as far as it used to. I'm extremely proud that we've added over 228,000 jobs in Colorado since February of 2010. The mounting pressures, though, on middle-class families have created real restrictions on freedoms and opportunities for everyday Coloradans to live, be able to live the life that they choose. And though Colorado has just raised the minimum wage to $8.23 an hour, that still only equates to barely over $17,000 per year. When working families are faced with extraordinary costs of child care, credit card debt, medical care, housing, college tuition, caring for aging parents, $8.23 an hour just doesn't cut it. There is a mounting debt crisis, and it's not unique to Colorado. But if Coloradans are willing to work hard and play by the rules, they should have a fair shot to pay off some of their debt, help send their kids to college, vocational, tech, anything that their heart desires, and be able to put some money towards their retirement. We addressed student cost of tuition last year, but the student loan debt crisis is growing, and Coloradans are carrying almost $107 million in private student loan debt. And for some, that actually can be an interest rate as high as 18%, but it's possible to even go higher than that. And over time, this can double, triple, or even quadruple the amount that students owe or parents on loans. It's time that they are permanently capped, along with tuition increases at our universities. The burden of a student debt is preventing some kids from entering college, and for others it amounts to a lifetime of loan payments to just barely keep up with the interest. This debt crisis has deferred the decision for many to choose to get married, to start a family, or to buy a first home. And while student loan debt has now actually surpassed credit card debt, Americans are still carrying about $882 billion in aggregate credit card debt alone, with an average interest rate of 14.95%. And childcare. We talked last year about how this now rivals the average cost of tuition in the state of Colorado. Anyone who has a little one around won't be surprised to find that the average cost of childcare is $12,400 a year. If a family has 2 kids in daycare, that cost exceeds the average rent in all 50 states. We started to address this last year, and we will continue to do so again this year. Our retirement security is insecure. Not only did the Great Recession topple the housing market, but it has left everyday Americans, once you account for debt, with actually a net zero in savings, in retirement savings. America has a retirement income deficit of about $6.6 trillion. As of 2001, 62% of private sector employees had access to workplace retirement benefits. In recent years, that figure has dropped to just 52% of people with access to private employer-provided retirement. Social Security only covers about 35% of the average person's income needs for retirement, 35% of the need. So the rest is a conversation that we need to have and explore because it affects all of us. When you add all of those families together, it has everything to do with the financial health and security for the state of Colorado. People generally need about 65 to 85% of their prior earnings in order to be approximately close to their standard of living in retirement. I know my dad lost a lifetime of his hard-earned wages and savings due to medical expenses from Parkinson's disease and dementia. And my mom had to defer her retirement for almost 10 years and sell her home and other precious items in order to afford to retire. They're not alone. Ask most people. And they do not know if, when, or how they are going to be able to afford to retire. While every person and family has to take responsibility for managing their own finances, we must do all we can to keep our promise to hardworking Coloradans so that they have the ability to retire with dignity. We cannot overstate the importance of education on job creation and economic development. They're all tied together. Education is the great liberator. It is the foundation of our freedom as Americans. We are a nation and a state of thinkers and innovators, and that tradition should be harnessed and honored as sacred. This past year, the Committee for the Esteemed Nobel Peace Prize co-awarded their prize to Malala for her fight for the right of all children to an education. Her story may seem far away, but the takeaway is truly universal. Education is a means for liberation and peace. It is a fundamental human right. Schools should be a safe place for kids to learn, not a war zone. An early childhood education, which we know works and provides the most cost-effective investment to predict future success, both academically, vocationally, avoided costs in the correction system, we know that will foster opportunities for an entire generation and help our whole community. A post-secondary education of whatever variety fits best teaches Coloradans the skills they need in order to flourish, offering opportunities and liberty to excel in the life they choose. Take a moment just to think about what kind of community we would have if every child had access to education, from preschool through higher education. Every child would be free to pursue their fullest potential, and these opportunities are critical to give every person the freedom to succeed. I am proud of Colorado. Together, we have accomplished a great deal to move Colorado forward over the last several years. We have the fastest growing economy. We are the second best state in the country for entrepreneurship and innovation. We've been the fifth best state for small business job gains. We're the second most highly educated state in the country. Colorado is the fourth happiest state in the nation. We have the sixth highest quality of life and are the eighth healthiest state with the lowest obesity rate in the United States. We are a leader in Colorado in renewable energy, in protecting voting rights, and in evidence-based criminal justice reforms. We live within our means, and we balance our budget every year. We have a lot to be proud of in Colorado. We have reduced the number of uninsured in Colorado and protected patient choice in healthcare. We've put government online and in the sunshine. We are a state that values equality in every sense of the word. And for the sixth year in a row, Colorado has the highest number of women serving in our state legislature out of the United States. Together with you, with all of you, and the people of the state of Colorado, we have moved Colorado forward and accomplished a great deal. We love Colorado, and for so many reasons, including our parks, wildlife, tourism, spectacular vistas, it is a privilege to live and work here. But we do know there's more to do. We cannot afford to go backward or lose the gains we have made. We need to ensure the economy continues to grow everywhere and for everyone. So it's a tall order, and it won't happen overnight. But my dad used to say, can't or impossible were really simply failures of imagination. Even the late Nelson Mandela, who President Cadman referred to, I believe, last year in your remarks, said, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it's done."
so we can do this. People who work hard and play by the rules should be able to get ahead. We can tackle the needs of Colorado families every day we are here, because they are who I represent, they are who you represent. We will find common ground in solving these problems and continuing to move Colorado forward. Thank you.
The Senate will come back to order. Majority Leader Scheffel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the remarks of the President and the Minority Leader be spread upon the pages of the Journal.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion is adopted. Announcements. Senator Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do have a legal obligation to say that the meeting of the Joint Budget Committee this afternoon will be postponed until 2 o'clock. It's printed as 1:30 on the calendar, so we'll move that to 2 o'clock or when we get around to it. I see Senator Stedman just left the room, but I would like to introduce, oh, there you are, you're back, okay. Senator Stedman, why don't you come up here, Senator Grantham. I just wanted to introduce our members of the Joint Budget Committee. We have been meeting since November 12th and been having meetings and briefings and hearings since then. I would like to draw your attention. We will be distributing a yellow book which has a summary of the governor's requests and some of the work we've been doing already. Starting next week, we will be having joint committee meetings with committees referenced from the House. We'll be going over these with the joint committees of your areas of responsibility. For members who are on new committees, if you're on the committee for planes, trains, and automobiles and you don't know what that committee does, look in Joint Rule 25B. We just voted on a change to that this morning, but that tells you what committees and what departments you have responsibilities over. And I would strongly suggest that if you have not done so, you access the briefings from the Joint Budget Committee staff, which are online. And for those people listening in on Channel 165, the Colorado channel, you can get information about that on our legislative website. That is www.leg.state.co.us. I really have a goal of transparency. If you have not studied those, that's probably the best information of finding out what our departments are doing around the state. And then you will also want to hear the audio broadcasts with the documentation of all the hearings that we've been having department by department. So anyway, we will continue to keep you informed as what we're doing on the Joint Budget Committee. We've been working together here and we'll continue to do so to get those goals met of having a balanced budget on time this year. I would like to make one other announcement in the spirit of safety in our public schools. If you've not heard it, we had an attempted bombing last night, or yesterday morning, I think it was, at 11 o'clock, of the NAACP headquarters in my county of El Paso. And we need to, as a legislature, dedicate ourselves to have those public security systems, those judiciary systems, and make it known to anybody who would commit a terrorist act like that in our state that this will not be tolerated, that we will track you down, prosecute you to the full extent of the law, and put you in prison. We will not tolerate that kind of violence in our society. I did talk to my friend Henry Allen, who's the director of the NAACP down there. Nobody was fortunately hurt in that incident, but police and the FBI are looking for the perpetrators of that, and I just hope as a body we dedicate ourselves to the public safety goals we have to not allow this type of violence in our state. Thank you very much.
Senator Kerr, welcome back.
Thank you, Mr.
Let me remind you of a senator that worked here before who said, "You will never have this." That's what this sounds like when you're in front of it. Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Todd. Senator Todd. When you get it right, I'll call on you. Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. President, and it is an honor to serve with you. I was just kind of recalling some of our days when we served together in the House, and some of the stories that I recall and recount, and we'll just kind of put that on hold because it sounded a little different this morning. So I appreciate so much your comments and your heart and soul and the leadership that you plan on leading the Senate this year. And with that, I do have an announcement, and that is that I think all of you found on your desk this morning an invitation tomorrow night to the Colorado Legislative Women's Caucus and Women in Government to join us at the Carr Center across the street at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And if you would like a personal tour by Chief Justice Nancy Rice, she will be honoring us by offering that tour tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And this is open to all of the elected officials. It is a beautiful facility, and it's a wonderful time. We are one of the leading states in the nation for women legislators, and so this is an opportunity that our men as well as women are invited and welcome to attend. So please put that on your calendar and look forward to seeing you. And congratulations to all of you who have been re-elected, elected, and joined this great body. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Kerr.
Thank you, Mr. President. Third time's the charm. Welcome to all of our new senators, and welcome back to all of our senators. We are known here under the Golden Dome for having blue ribbon commissions. On your desk, you will find a blue ribbon legislative reception announcement from the Restaurant Association. I encourage all of you to please take a look at that and hopefully attend so we can all get to know each other a little bit better. Thank you.
Further announcements. Earlier shuffle.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, if you could grab your pencils, we've got a number of announcements. We'll move through these rapidly, and then we've got to get over to the House. We will be joining the House for a joint session this morning, and so we will recess here shortly. They are ready for us, so we will head over there. You will not need to return to the Senate this afternoon after the joint session is adjourned. You will note, as in the past, there is a chair next to you, next to your counterpart over in the House, so you'll want to seek that out, so that's where you'll be sitting. For our guests in the chamber, we will try to find space for you on the benches on the House floor. If that is lacking, you may be directed to the gallery. In addition, the Department of Revenue has a representative here today in light of last year's legislation in the basement to help you in registering your legislative license plates. They'll be here until 5, and if necessary, we'll schedule an additional date to come in next week. If for some reason you're unable to meet with the representative either today or next week, their liaison will contact you directly to schedule an appointment. Also of note is that the Senate will convene at 10 a.m. tomorrow, Thursday, but 9 a.m. on Friday. 10 a.m. tomorrow, 9 a.m. on Friday. Please make a note. Also, very important, tomorrow, Thursday, the 8th, we will be recreating the 1905 photo of the Senate chamber that you see here, which is a part of the, inspired by the Restoration Project. Please note, dress appropriately in dark suits or clothing. Black and white is always in order. And note that we will ask that all non-essential personnel will be asked to leave the chamber during the photo. If you're interested in reproductions or an original photo or copies of the recreated photo, please see Cindy, Secretary of the Senate, to fill out the appropriate paperwork. Also of note, very important, on day 3, Friday, January the 9th, there is the mandatory training session on ethics and workplace harassment for all members, in addition to any employee who has not yet attended. That will be held in the old Supreme Court chamber immediately following our floor work on Friday the 9th. Also of note, for your calendars, the inauguration of the governor will take place next week on Tuesday, January the 13th, and the state of the state will be Thursday the 15th at 11 a.m., and the state of the judiciary will be Friday the 16th at 11 a.m. Again, we will join the House for a joint session to receive those addresses on both of those days. And just so you can do some advanced planning, those of you that travel, let me let you know that the Senate will be closed. The Senate will be closed on Monday, January the 19th, in observation of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We will convene again on Tuesday the 20th at 10 a.m. to give you the ability to plan with that. So just a reminder, we're going to recess here in a second. We're going to come back at 3 o'clock to read some bills over the desk, but you do not need to be here. And but we will be going directly here to the House for the joint session. That being said, Mr. President, I move that the Senate recess until 3 p.m. today.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, the Senate will be recessed until, did we say 3:30?
3 p.m.
Until 3 p.m. We'll see you at the House.